you know, formerly in the nine, jumping inside, it becomes a spaceship. You can't.
Yeah, the music kind of sound trash on the StreamYard.
She's the ass, she's up to dance, right? Your ass in the back, she's around the back. She's stuck in your cash, she's for the back. Stack in your ass in your rubber duck. But to my truck, the ass when I text for the fucking up. Look at that, but it wasn't left. I'm ass with the crab now, I'm coming up. Ass with the ass, she's up to dance, right? Your ass in the back, she's around the back. She's stuck in your cash, she's for the back. Stack in your ass in your rubber duck. And I but to my truck, your ass when I text for the fucking up. Look at that, but it wasn't left. I'm ass with the crab now, I'm coming up. Yeah. I guarantee I'll make it. Starship, never left. I can play one, you can touch the dime. Yeah. Good job, because I figured out, y'all don't fuck with God. I be on a plane or spaceship, y'all be on a boat. I trade, I bless, I'm tall, let a nigga know something. I'ma treat a motherfucker like he owes something. Till I figure that you niggas don't know nothing. You can look up in the sky, there you go, I can fight boss. Mix the shit, I got to sort out the base. Crowds on the news, they reporting the script. Every time we see a war on the news, gotta question who is recording the shit. Why they always showing some horrible flicks? Make you have to go on a tour to quit. You can tell me that little whore in a bitch. That's why she ain't never ignored the dick. What you left you just like force of the dick. We got some sour cream and onion tortillas. Making more chips, more Cheetos, more Pringles. Make it more evil. It's gonna be a blast on the pass on the ass on the blood of my pants. Give girl a torpedo. Let them have the pass. I don't get you got gas. If I fall down, funky ass smell like Doritos. I be in a small ass buddy, but in the spare realm on time, hey, it's a more evil. We get jacked, nigga, but you say he jacked city, motherfucker, we don't get a more Nino. She's about to dance right, your ass in the back, just in front of that down. Stack in your cash, just front of that pan. Slap in your ass in your rubber gun. And I have a couple checks. That's when I text started fucking nuts. So I'm breaking down, but it was a lunch. My man took the crap now, I'm coming up.
Yeah, this Monday where the mood's supposed to be a little lighter. We control the vibe. The mood's supposed to be lighter on Monday.
What I do is get grateful. Like a parasite caught in a raincoat. And it's such a blood, just like a steal some buzz, like an esoteric leaf jar vampire. Yeah, I'm a damn pirate. Spirits getting really OG. Yeah, the whole world so goddamn big, like everybody mad at the OD. Spoken on old English, trying to speak, and I ain't even had me a little OD. Y'all know the vampires, let go, put the one stake in your heart, how you came from the start. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, your ass in the fact, just around the top. Stuck in your cash, just for the top. Slap in your ass in your rubber gut, and I had a pass, back to my truck. Your ass, my tax, got a fucking mess, so I'm breaking down, but it wasn't left. I'm ass with the crap now, I'm coming up. Ass to the ass, she's dust to dust, your ass in the back, just around the top. Stuck in your cash, just for the top. Slap in your ass in your rubber gut, and I had a pass, back to my truck. Your ass, my tax, got a fucking mess, so I'm breaking down, but it wasn't left. I'm ass with the crap now, I'm coming up. Yeah.
No, it sounds like Fujin rap, wind rap. All right, yeah. So Monday's supposed to be a more lighten up spirit and stuff like that. And look, check this out. Since we all supposed to be adult spirits, I'm gonna take it upon myself to take responsibility for that also, and things of that nature. And it even creates a better perspective or playground, even when it comes to all of us participating online, or even if we're not participating, just the way that people are feeling before they upload content and things of that nature. And this separates us from the little qualities of the converter energy or the conversion. Now, I'm not saying I'm trying to lead anybody or whatever, but I'm gonna lead by actions, at least how I do for myself. And then for the most part, that's part of the big title also, my opinion. So when we up here expressing our creativity or anything of that nature, even when we slide in certain topics that be just coming live out of our living rooms and stuff like that, at the same time, it's open if an individual asks for a person's opinion. So it's not some type of platform or playground or stage for us all want to compete on who is right and who should convert. And no, everybody think like this, everybody think like that. No, You asked me my opinion, I gave my opinion on it. Whether it's business, entertainment, education, religion, or politics. And if every podcast is like that, here's the thing. Our opinions is true to our heart space and things of that nature, while separating from the energy of demanding or egotistic or whatever the case may be. Here's what's going to naturally play out. The people with good ideas is just going to be something that's added and other people want to do. People who got bad ideas is like a give or take. I mean, a leave it or take it. Oh, just leave it. That ain't a good idea, but it's your opinion. And I know that whatever you saying, whoever think like you, that's just your people, because you already around people for you to think that way. And therefore, it's not a thought that's large enough for anybody else, especially if it's small on a percentage scale of common sense. It's not large enough for anyone else to want to participate. So it's really not a threat, whatever we thinking is a threat anyway. But we all just thinking anyway. YouTube, just like MySpace, Facebook, and TikTok and everything else, is based off anecdotal, but also being a platform that other people can see other people's personal experiences or what other people are into. And plus discovering whatever a person is into is being directed towards whatever creativity they got, whatever productivity they got, or whatever the case may be. And even if you want to slide your orator skills and get into even politics, that makes that platform a lot better, even when it's sharing YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, or whatever the case may be. Therefore, when it comes up to heavy stuff, especially rest in peace homeboy, stuff like Charlie Kirk and things of that nature, everybody know how to draw the line between a person's opinion and when a person is making money or something like that. And that heals a lot of wounds also, because even if America is in like a childlike state, that allow us to look at ourselves like, well, maybe we are childish. Maybe we are reacting to things that may not necessarily be worth that extremity. And then for the most part, everybody got an opinion like a piece of toilet paper or whatever the case may be. And that's pretty much how anecdotal platforms are in the first place. So it's nothing for everybody to just come up here and just, speak what they're speaking. And then if it is open or whatever the case may be on any topic base, it's based off opinion. We know people came up and asked that person their opinion, or if a person expressing their opinion, like a living room or a kitchen over the dinner table conversation, we know it's due to the dialogue from that person's personal position, not necessarily something everybody is automatically going to agree with. And that person shouldn't be in no emotional bias to go that far in some ego to think that that's their actual mission also. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, 2 houses up the street won't even fuck what the hell you saying. This is YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get that clear first. Then we had a better way of sitting back, really being able to observe what to calculate, what to put together when it comes to opinions and everybody shit together and things of that nature. And I think that's a broader, just spiritual nature. It's not that everybody got to put in a title. It's an opinion-based podcast or whatever the case may be, but it substantiate the lines that's blurred. Even when it comes to a person who have their own opinion and they feel like they being told something, then they might be getting shut down. Then they might not know where to lash out at. Then they lash out at the first couple of people who get a lot of views. Then it might be another situation or however the case. And it separates all that, clutter we don't necessarily need to be in when we is trying to establish something or whatever the case may be, even if it comes to voting and stuff. Our mind and our morality of how we're connecting with each other has to be on a substantiated ground base first. And then once that's substantiated, we good to go. Anything else be like low-key tit for tat in areas that tit for tat is not even suitable. There's no money in that area. And it may even play out as forms of inflation. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, we are. We got all our own biases. Everybody got their little small pockets of racism. That ain't the thing. You know what I'm saying? And everybody having an open Stargate to present their opinion is the best thing that we all could do in the first place. And it separate all the harshness, how we may feel, how we may react, how a lot of us may act, and things of that nature. And here's the thing. This also set up a situated circumstance where if your mind not healthy anyway, maybe these shouldn't be things that you try to involve yourself in until you try to develop your mind. Because if you got that nervous energy and stuff like that, that was stuff we should have dealt with in high school. Like, oh yeah, I got this creativity, but this bully in this classroom or this, that. I'm just going to hold my creativity to someone else who stay in the corner or sharpen the pencil in the line or stuff. Or don't mind being at the last person in the water fountain line or whatever, or the lunch line. Maybe they'll like it or whatever the case may be. Now you putting your own creativity in the back seat due to the fact of the extremities. Oh, damn, this or this algorithm. So should I talk about this or this what it is? Or maybe I got to do this app. Maybe I got to, no, relax. and always be at the starting point of your opinion, and your opinion is only going to go as far as people agree with it anyway. And you don't have to dive in that tit for tat energy or whatever the case may be to try to make it bigger. Just be yourself. That's not the thing to do right now. You know what I'm saying? Chill out, do your thing, and we go through many shifts. This shift we're going through right now ain't gonna be forever. You know what I'm saying? So, don't get discouraged or to get unmotivated on any type of circumstance or think you have to be pumped up to jump into an algorithm. But once you click that live button or that upload button off and rewatch it, that damn, that really wasn't me like that. But I had the virtue signal to get into the algorithm. But maybe next time I can add a little bit of my own flavor. You ain't even got to go through all that mind game and stuff. Built that A side, B side song from an album that your favorite artist never did a video to energy. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, that's what built that cult following, where it ain't really you being a follower or you creating followers. It's you expressing a walk a path of life that you went through, and other people can feel that because they're going through the same thing. Therefore, everybody got their own mind, and everybody knowing they all need their time and space and peace too. So it ain't no demanding energy or one person ruling over another. Because, one person has to be the best at the engineer board. One person has to be the best at the microphone or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't that one person might need a break for a while. You don't get in your mind and be like, well, I need to record today. If the engineer need to recharge, what makes the songs, the quality to how it was when we first getting down and stuff like that. And when we always pointing our energy outwardly to something relatable, we all internally can all feel comfortable around each other without no co-energy, competitive energy, who's better energy. And when it's time for us to have some peace, you a grown-ass person just like me. It's things that I even want to do that I ain't got time to be around you for it. And things that, especially if you another man with some balls and stuff like that, I might be having a relation and getting connected with a female, whatever the case may be. We'll get back to what we got to get to. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, that's how things need to be substantiated. All the way sliding out of that red pill, the bros energy. And I hate to throw that in either, but we just making examples. You know what I'm saying? Where sometimes even coming out their mouth and stuff, it sounds like they trying to make the one homeboy say fuck a female and just come pay rent with the other homeboy or whatever. And both of y'all just gonna have testosterone bubbling up until y'all start WWEing around each other and shit, putting holes in the goddamn wall, and both of y'all slide away and move with a bitch eventually. It's gonna lead that way. So why waste your time? Why just be homeboys and go live with a female? You know what I'm saying? That's it. Just be homeboys and stuff like that. And that's not to say everybody ain't got to take that opinion. You know what I'm saying? You could produce certain situations in your own life. If you come across a live stream like this, see how that might play out. See the percentage scale that may be useful. See the percentage scale that ain't. Boom, you good to go. You take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? But you would never be in a position of even becoming someone's troll at that point either. Just to even bring that up. You know what I'm saying? You don't bring too much of that stuff over. But we have to make things more of on a moral end, even moral grounds, regardless of who's higher on the level of this class, this lower class on a physical level. You know what I'm saying? It could be a bum right now that live at the bus station that got an Obama phone or something like that. But if they getting up here trying to convert someone in with their belief, or is they up here kicking some creativity that they hold that cup open for some change because they next to a violin or something like that, that's supposed to be the main interest. Then if I click your link and ask your opinion about something or whatever the case may be, I know your opinion is coming from a place that you even developed some creativity to play that violin. And then it ain't a guaranteed I'm going to think like you either, because I'm a grown-ass man too with my own thoughts and stuff like that, whatever. If I'm not a content creator, I'm in your shit. So I might just get into a point of supporting you because I don't want to see you up under the bus station no more and shit like that. So, that's how it boils out. And, I won't look at someone else who may have a retarded radical opinion you may got and lump y'all in a box. That person got something like that based upon their own. And if it's too much of some shit I don't agree with, I ain't got no business watching it anyway and shit like that. What I'm supporting, my own illness. You know what I'm saying? And that how everybody show that they're spiritual adults. Now, here's the thing. Ain't nothing wrong. Good, healthy debates, argument. Nah, we all be interested into that. You know what I'm saying? We all be interested in that. Ain't nothing wrong with that and stuff like that. But it's just when it look like it's cheating going on and stuff like that, that's when it get weird a little bit. Like, oh, this is like some cheating. But other than that, it's all fair game because this is some public thing. It's like if you at a public restroom, you at a public beach. YouTube is like public, but everybody got their own stations and stuff like that. But as long as everybody get mature in the mind, everybody good to go, regardless of what we're doing. The what, you know what I'm saying? The how, it's what's being put up and projected right now for all spirits in all forms, regardless of what context that you believe in that. Whether people get into God and energy and all this stuff, but you could look at it like this. You got a computer with a floppy disk, and now you got computers and phones that run faster and stuff like that. So just in the physical term, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could try to speed up or work with something that's old and outdated, but eventually you're just going to slide over into a new shift. You can't do what you did on the same thing with the floppy disk that you could do on the disk, the CD disk, or the hard drive, or the flash drive, or however the case may be, just to put it in physical terms. Not to say the physical things we doing as we evolving or whatever, but just to understand, like, you know what I'm saying, in our mind. It ain't about the what, it's the how you doing it. Now the what, it's a computer. The how, you could be still doing the floppy disk, or you could be updated, and utilizing the software we got now and stuff like that. So that'd be the how, and how you do it. Now, okay, we still could do the computer shit. Still could be the computer. It's just how it's done is more sufficient, or whatever the case. Now take that into the mental computer world, if y'all want to look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that we do, it don't necessarily be all about the what. And then we over exaggerate when the what don't play out in the outcome that we want it to. But really, it could be just something simple, the how. And it ain't always what we doing. Sometimes it may be what we not doing. You know what I'm saying? And that makes us see things from a better perspective, even when we're developing our opinions or our defense qualities, when we are defending ourselves based upon whatever adjectivism world thought pattern that we may be in at the moment, that just appears to be a piece of ourselves in it, based upon personal experiences and adult shit. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, this is all about the mind, developing, expanding, and knowing how to think more sufficiently next time. So you look at your mind like a physical body part. So every thought collect and become a feeling that you react to first before you even make it something you feel comfortable with as a fruit and push it out to be impactful for others or influence others. So every time you think, don't just think, oh, it's just thoughts. And I can think about a lot of thoughts. Look at that like actions. If it's a certain thought, that you get ready to go down that train of thought, a line of reasoning you don't agree with, stop. It's just simple as that. Like, stop. I don't care as far as it go. You don't have to be a spirit going all the way down that alley, that field, that village. That city, you don't necessarily have to. Then you might start to see some things, aka develop imaginations that's in more extremities that's not in your favor. Then you start, this how it manifests in real life. When people say manifest, it has to play out as materializing. It's not that it pop up out of thin air and become a person, place, or thing. You're reacting to that in your actual life. It could have been other things you was doing that previous 10 minutes or 10 seconds. You started to react to that the way you moved your elbow. But when y'all be in that energy so long, it become a collection of your actions that lead up to an hour to 2 hours to you getting in right in that situation that you was just imagining that you really was producing. But it ain't out of your hands. It's always in your hands. You're producing it. So you moved yourself in that area. For an example, let's say if you already got a presupposition from a situation that already existed that wasn't in your favor. So it make you have this worrying or being prepared energy, or however the case may be. That experience in that 10-minute pocket when you wasn't prepared for whatever have happened. And then next time, that you have to be prepared for what happened. So you already doing something. You have a thought, then because your spirit in that space, it bend in and become some of those actions. And then those actions was indifferent than the last 10 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So you moved yourself to that situation. You moved yourself in it, whether it was positive or negative. And you have to look at it like that. Once we go down a train of thought, a line of reasoning, we build it up even with our actions, even if we're not in the situation that the actions is called for. We still be moving in that time. Put it like, think if you are a musician, but then you thinking about a family matter, right? That time you could have been thinking about that song. You had to think about the family matter. And that time that you was thinking about that song, you went to the studio, you was thinking about that family matter, and you had to go to wherever you had to go to, whether somebody was late from somewhere, you had to pick them up or whatever, right? So you built up the whole time frame. You didn't even drive in the direction of the studio. That's building it up for you to be in that situation of what was in your mind first, and then what it played out in action wise. So when y'all sit around and just think about negative thoughts and stuff that's not in your favor, you take actions towards it too. This how, and it'll be so many thoughts and feelings, it bend down and become adrenaline. The blood is it's the same thing. This what makes it's so much blood rushing through your veins, it makes you nervous. So let's say you in high school, junior high, or college, or military, and you still going through these type of issues, peer pressure, bullies there, especially if you're in the military and stuff like that. You thought too much about something. And that scenario led you right in the space for that to happen. See what I'm saying? And there was other thoughts and feelings that your spirit tried to get out of that space of those collection of thoughts and feelings that you was going in, but your spirit wasn't big enough or strong enough to take those stimuli to add it with that current one, so you can still have a comfort zone and fight some resistance. So you run away from an energy that can pull you out of that situation. And it's almost like getting taken advantage of or putting on a fake smile when you get back in that same situation again. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about the mind, we're already doing something before we start to think about it. So we're already in a spiritual space, or you have to be in a negative or positive space to have that developing thought in the first place. And negative and positive is just generalizing the many multitudes of spaces an individual could be in. You see what I'm saying? And all these pockets, eventually we break them down, call them words, you know what I'm saying? Give them meanings, but they're going to be described or ascribed to each individual in their own perspective. So even though we all got access, we all can see where there ain't no vision, we all can hear where there ain't no nothing to listen to or no sound, there's still something happening that we all can experience before these things like visualization and sound have an account for it. And therefore, now we become spiritual accountants. You're keeping order. You know what I'm saying? You seeing the paperwork, Emerald's tablet. You're seeing what's written down that's not written, but you know it's supposed to be played out in that type of fashion. Or you're not doing the real esoteric script the right way. That should be going on the beauty path. But at the same time, when you get there, you'll be able to see it's subjective that we're all utilizing an objective point of view, but it's not for you to separate it as the objective is separate from the subjective. Actually, the subjective becomes the objective because the subjective all has the same ability, and that same thing represents objective. So many different creatures, right? Subjective. But what do we all got in common? The ability to think. Objective. See what I'm saying? So when we know how to direct these words and these meanings and take the wrong ones and give it back to its rightful owners and who created that intellectual property, we reframe our mind into seeing what we're actually supposed to be seeing the right way. Therefore, the words or the meaning don't get in the way of what we're actually experiencing. Then we're able to interchange the words or keep the same words and apply the right meaning and have meaningful dialogue. Now we a little closer to understanding, not so much in between us, mind states, physical forms, and other external representations and language that we create, that we still don't understand each other, no matter how much we're creating external representations to create the delusion like we is. You know what I'm saying? This is how bad deals go wrong. This how you thought a person was doing something one way and you was getting manipulated. This how a lot of y'all feel like you in the wrong relationships at the moment due to the fact of other things involved. You know what I'm saying? And we don't be realizing we're doing a lot of these things before we even get involved or even come up with the thought. We're automatically spiritually in that space. And if we start duplicating thoughts that turn into feelings that we're reacting and responding to, that's larger on a percentage scale of not in our favor based upon how we see ourselves or whatever the case may be, you got to know how to stop that. You can't start going into organ implosion in that area. Well, why do I have this thought? Well, where did it maybe come from? Well, it might be this person fault outside of me. Maybe I need to play victim. No, you know what I'm saying? Once you get into that area, you're not being a spiritual adult taking charge. Like, no, fuck that thought. So that's how you do the actual mealing the real first sons and daughters. The first collection of thoughts that accumulate and become emotions, that's the first sons, thoughts, frequencies that accumulate and become vibrations for you to be in, feelings. And if they're not in your favor, you're supposed to be getting rid of those, destroying those, because that's your children and you ain't mean to have that. Now, if you let these children start to become young kids, young adults, young teenagers and stuff like that, they're going to have a mind of their own. So as a spirit, you don't know how to control them, and they're going to take you into a whole bunch of responsibilities really you personally shouldn't be responsible for. Now you're a person that's living for others. That's how it play out externally, because inside of you, you haven't learned how to live for yourself. You're living for others, these creations, and you the creator. And group of these young boys start having kids, group of these young women start having kids. Now you got a whole world of grandeur. You got a whole world of delusion that you in, that you acting out in, that may not necessarily be in favor of your actual life, of your physical. You see what I'm saying? And when you don't peak game in that area, right, you're not being a healthy spirit. You're being eaten alive by your own creations. And that's what that means. Your feeling could get the best of you. Your thought could get the best of you, but you're not actually utilizing these things for you. These things are utilizing you for them. And a lot of times these ain't even yours. Some of these is adopted. You adopted some of these worldviews. You adopted some of these thought forms. You adopted some of these constructs. You know what I'm saying? And you took it upon yourself to uphold it. You took it upon yourself to be the face of the billboard of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's up to you to see if the outcome goes in your favor or not. But an adult spirit is supposed to be able to see these things from a mile away. Or spirits like to be fools at time for the sake of a monetary gain. And if you don't know no better, ain't nothing wrong with that, because you get grace also. So don't be so hard on yourself or down on yourself or self-judgment. Even if you do reach a new form of enlightenment, it just means do better. And a mistake is just a lesson, not something for you to criticize yourself 24/7 about. Trust me, there's people around you who done worse. You see what I'm saying? And probably got away with it. You ain't did nothing. Pick up your motherfucking cross and keep going. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. And that's how you're supposed to move along with that. That builds a healthy, strong mind. You got esoteric Planet Fitness when you're there, because your mind muscle is getting strong. It's not weak to all the outside thoughts and feelings that put your one in a compression, and then it manifests into the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension as depression. You know what I'm saying? So, inflammation in the mind condense and become the organ, inflammation. And if you keep that balance, that's a more lighter representation of how a person already on the path of having balanced hormones. You're balancing your mucus system, your inflammation, which is a condensed version of a lesser, lighter, more version of your organs that's more condensed of that. So it's not about the lack of mucus, but it's also not for you to have too much mucus or whatever that cause it to formate into tissue and pus in areas in your vein that cause blood clots, and you ain't got a healthy blood flow system in some way, shape, or form. But if you stay spiritually light, you're not in a lot of thought forms that condense and become feelings that you're trapped inside of, that have you compressed in the mental world and the physical depressed. Now you're pressed up against things mentally with that compression, and the physical world gonna feel like the world is on your shoulders because of all these responsibilities you may develop. So now you're depressed, even if you're not in a depressing mood, right? You're pressed up against your responsibilities, or having to put on a fake smile at that job to make sure you still get that check and that pay stub, or however the case it may be. You know what I'm saying? So these are just all things we have to make sure we can substantiate with ourselves first before we even involve ourselves in the external world. You know what I'm saying? And it makes everybody be in a situation where Your mind muscle is strong first. You more invested into, I know I'm gonna be seen this way. And if the world is evolved that way, you're gonna be in that energy because you're not gonna be so in an energy of expecting people don't think certain ways. And now you got something to compare and contrast to, so you know to carve yourself out the best way possible. If we want to say squaring out something or making sure each point has a circumference and edge out the right way. Because you know what I'm saying? I like to look at it like breaking down a TP from a square, a triangle from a square, then opening the box. So let's say you want to take about 4 points. I look at that like idea, problem, solution, conclusion. Therefore, I don't need a symbol in front of me to know what's going on in the mind, that all of us can do that in our own way. That what? But the how. So it ain't, because I know even the 4 seasons ain't a direct square or a circle, but it's something you could derive out of it still from a 4 point. So in my mind, it could be a swirl, it could be anything. That's just the essence of all the different ways it can play out in these type of forms of structure. Idea, problem, solution, conclusion. Idea, the top of the point. You know what I'm saying? Problem, it gets substantiated. Conclusion, the outcome. Solution, was it good or bad? And therefore, that also equals foreknowledge, because you know what to do and what not to do next time. So a person that may be in a more foolish or uncomprehended situation, you could give them some knowledge that's ahead of the path that they may be on similarly, and therefore don't have to go through the large amount of percentage scale of the mistake you may have made from starting off with the 1, 2, 3, 4 point, triangle, circle, square, fire, water, air, earth. You know what I'm saying? And then goddamn it, idea, problem, solution, conclusion. And I may have had it mixed up. I think I said solution last, but it's really idea, problem, solution, conclusion. If I had that wrong. So I think I mixed up solution and conclusion, but it's idea, the spark of something. Hold on. The spark of something. Idea, the spark, the point, top triangle, right? The idea, the problem, substantiating it, the solution, what it becomes to be, the outcome, and then the conclusion. Was it a good representation or was it a bad representation? Therefore, you can even substantiate that and what happens with spring, summer, fall, and winter, and then what you have done on a micro scale that year to see if what you need to do better next year and stuff like that. That's why it's good to have if you do got New Year resolutions or whatever the case may be, to have it in starting late March, early April. You know what I'm saying? Around there and stuff like that. Because starting something new in wintertime, death, doesn't make sense. Now you could say that may be pseudo and you could come up with any idea, but you're not, it's not in sync. You're not using your own same makeup, holy anatomy, with the holy anatomy. So what seeds gonna grow in wintertime? If you even gonna make the parable of your mind being a seed and something gonna grow as something new, and whatever growing being that resolution. So being spiritual is being connected in that order also. It's not just about the physical world. It's how you applying the less dense world that become the physical and doing that with your micro perspective, your mind before your actions. So your mind should be in a place of not planting seeds, aka a New Year resolution at the beginning of winter time. I'm saying, how much sense does that make? Will it grow? Think about what's going on physically. A lot of business shut down at that time. So anything you try to start, even in the physical world, it'd be harder for you to do it at that time. Going to jail, anything harder to get out at that time, to get your lawyer to really get things moving at that time, especially around Christmas. You lost in the sauce at that. That's the worst time ever to go to jail. Worst time ever to even try to sue somebody and make them go to jail. It's just the worst time for business ever. You know what I'm saying? So you should just be seeing how it play out already and apply that in your natural life and just correlate it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Then you good to go. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? This is about seeing how well we could be in sync with how things already planned out in areas we know commonly humanity is not focused on. It'd be right in front of you. Then you could say stuff like, it might have been the wind. It might have been. But if someone was to hold your feet to the fire and try to make you substantiate that, or however the case may be, you will be able to, because the conversation will leave the wind very fast and lead into an actual scenario. But just at the end, telling a person, this is the best way I can explain it to you. Maybe just due to lack of terms. But a person will be able to feel you. You know what I'm saying? Or a person might just be on the side of capitalizing off of it so they can't substantiate it or make it make sense. But due to the fact of it being given to a person to feed whatever false ego that they in or their emotional state, right? Person might Joel Osteen a person a few times or whatever the case may be. But that person themselves will have to be in a position that they always have to go to the corner. They always have to go to the church. They always have to go to that to feed it from that, maybe from lack of developing that energy on their own or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? So, and everybody in a position. It's not for one person to shame another person by lack of knowledge, but it's also not a spirit responsibility to try to point a spirit in an area that they think is best for them, because everybody's going through their own experiences. And would a person derive their conclusion out of their personal experience? You can't know that. So you could be in a situation of thinking an external representation of what y'all both going through is the same thing. Y'all might both be in jail at the moment. Y'all might both be in this. But truly what got y'all there is not the same thing. Even though if it appeared to be the same crime or it appeared to be the... So one person might be more in an ego than another and be like, hey, I can help you out because this will help me. But that can only go so far until a person start even feeling like their own spirit is being impeded on, because they want that space to understand something for themselves that they know in those pockets of their life what got them there, you don't know about. You see what I'm saying? And so it's about us being careful on stepping on each other's spiritual toes. That's what I call that one. Stepping on people's spiritual toe or trying to share someone's spiritual space dick. You know what I'm saying? Where a person's own numinal space that they filled up, regardless of where it got directed towards and multiple individuals in the same area, that space is still like a person that even if you share a jail cell with someone, you need that person to turn around and y'all put the sheets around it so you can go ahead and use the bathroom in your own space. You know what I'm saying? Without the thought of homeboy being damn watching shit. You know what I'm saying? But that is still always going to be some type of situation where it's like that in the spirit world, regardless of what we are entangling ourselves with, that may start to appear to be similar. And on a large percentage scale, similar attributes to get out of it to make more positive outcomes. Still, it doesn't outweigh when a spirit can wrap that energy around their spiritual finger themselves and always have the know-how. Eventually, the spirit will even start to disregard or be disgruntled towards the other spirit that gave them that information that ultimately on a larger scale was helpful. But that little pocket of that percentage scale of, but I was supposed to know that for myself too, because we all have spirits, still gonna start to bubble up. And a lot of times it's how y'all be sleeping with the enemy. A lot of times it's how y'all be with friends. You think that's friends, but they really not. Family members that you think is cool, gonna get ready to rock you to sleep faster than the other one that you was talking to the hater one before you realized it was even a bad person or whatever the case may be. And you start to realize that's the first one you should have connected with, not the one that you just ruined every relationship with. And all kind of stuff just because of what you think got going on. Yeah, everything sound agreeable when something going in somebody's way in favor and shit like that, even if they ain't the one in it. Like shit, you share their blood, you share their background, you went to high school with them. Everything that come out your mouth and stuff, even you could be a goddamn musician. What, you want to wear a dress? Oh, shit, yeah, they got every excuse in the world to why. Let some start going away. Let some money or something start going away or something like that. That whole connection you had with them, whole 80,000 years you went to high school, jumped other people with them, all that just seemed to disappear or something like that. That now all of a sudden, you this, you that, you we. You know what I'm saying? And it never failed. It never failed. But you need to know you was always sleeping with the enemy or shaking hands with the enemy and the whole time anyway. And it could be your family, friends, associates, or coworkers. You just got to be legit enough to know what's going on in the mind and starting points, and know that everybody developed that and doing something before they even had those collection of thoughts and feelings, and y'all start to connect these things and be impactful with each other. What be the point? What be the purpose? When you see that save you from a lot of things. And when you around a lot of things that ain't got no point to it, but it got a lot of substantiated concepts and order and stuff like that, you know, you get ready to get rocked to sleep by that family, friend, associate, or coworker. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know, oh, it ain't the point that I'm enjoying myself with my best friend going out with me. The point is they know I'm about to be the one spending my hard-earned money at work when I'm off and buying everybody drinks. You know what I'm saying? And then for the most part, if you don't know how to duplicate that energy and stuff like that, boom, you rock to sleep. And now you playing victim, and a relationship with your friends don't even have to go down the angles, get ready to go. You could have just started putting things in check, or started to separate from things to see if they're going to fulfill those pockets that may be uneven or unbalanced, and you getting the short end of the stick. Don't even make it up like a frustration. Sit back and just, it ain't always what you're doing, it's what you're not doing. Stop buying drinks and shit and see how many weeks go past to see if they gonna start buying the drinks or whatever the case may be. And then now that lets you know everything you need to know without even building no animosity or no elephant in the room. Now you more the spiritual adult. Here's the thing. When you let that energy build up, there comes a time where you built so much esoteric currency, you're the only one who could talk shit out the clique. And then you could decide as a spiritual adult if you want to use that esoteric currency or not to hurt a few egos, to make a person feel down that they really can't even debunk it, can't say nothing around it, and they didn't know it was going to come from you like that because you held on to your energy. You held on to your presence. You allowed everybody to think what they was going to think. You know what I'm saying? That's being intelligent. That's real intelligence right there. Can't nobody never look at you as the fool out the clique. You spiritually sophisticated. You know what I'm saying? So when you get like that, you know what I'm saying? A person start to challenge themselves that you don't know when they ain't even around you. So you building spirits up that you connected to even when they ain't around you. You don't know how much good you're doing to the world or whatever the case may be. But all the flunkness that an individual was even in that they know that wouldn't even be right with a person like you that they're around, they get rid of those energies real fast. And if you own anything real and doing something good and creative, you ain't got to open up your mouth and be like, y'all ain't supporting, y'all ain't doing, and you ain't got to do all that. A person feel like they're doing something wrong by not, and they ain't doing nothing else in their life. So they should be doing that. And this is what's making them better. Therefore, you ain't force a person to do nothing. They just down with the get down, and anybody who ain't just fade away without no animosity needed. And next time you see them, it'll just be like it was yesterday. It ain't like y'all ain't fulfill y'all pockets of what y'all do in a time when y'all was together with other people that's more in your favor. So it won't be a thing. It won't even feel right for y'all to even make a plan or whatever the case may be. Y'all done already fulfilled these open pockets with other things there and stuff like that. So no hard feelings. And that's how you actually create relationships and stuff like that too. That don't be like no bridge burning type of scenario, or no situation where it's like there's no point of return, even if there wanted to be one. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times ego get involved, and even if it could be a point of return, the ego wouldn't allow it. It's just how much a person was affected by whatever happened emotionally wouldn't allow the situation to be visually seen and experienced and reciprocated the way it was before that happened. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know, closure is what people be needing. But if you already know something that was open that just toxic anyway, why do you even want to be in that building for any type of closure to open up some old wound or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Let that heal. You got to let that heal. You know what I'm saying? It won't even be no point. Just go ahead and let that heal or whatever the case. And when you look at it like that, you'll start to realize these weren't things you needed in the first place. You made up a necessity. You was just in an area that wasn't in your favor, and you just trying to still figure out what's going on in some of these rooms. You need closure. But every time you go in a room, it's like oxymoron. You go out one room, you go in another room. You go in one door, you go out one door. So you think you need closure, and you go ahead and end up opening the door to another womb or whatever the case may be. And you just really ain't realized you just want to remind yourself of your own pity, being down on yourself. You just wanted that external thing to remind you that without you knowing or trying to realize you put yourself in that situation. And a lot of times when we are down on ourselves or guilty on ourselves of areas we ain't supposed to because we made a mistake, but we ain't look at it like a lesson, it leads us into these areas. And we really just be wanting whatever person, place, or thing we're running into to tell us otherwise. But we try to get closure and open up the door of the same wound. You know what I'm saying? We just get reminded the same thing again. And once we know how to get out that cycle, we leave whole buildings. You know what I'm saying? We leave whole buildings because once you get outside some of these spiritual buildings, you will look back and you will see a big sign. You'll be like, damn, I was in a mental asylum. I'm just keeping it real. Look, all the way down to McDonald's. Shout out to Duncan. Man, this came out somebody's mind now. You ain't about to tell me the cycle ward didn't come out somebody's mind. So you know what I'm saying? So whoever was in a position like people need cycle wards, and whoever was in a position of you should be in one, it was in everybody's mind first. You know what I'm saying? It was in everybody's psyche. So I'm just saying where people be at before you even end up in one right now. The halfway house, another version of it. It's just a watered down version of it. Same thing. You might have thought you had a friend. You might be watching this from the halfway house or jail right now. You might be like, yeah, this cat right. No, you in the same thing right now, dude. You know what I'm saying? You in the same thing right now. Animals. But yeah, shout out to everybody, though. You know what I'm saying? Free everybody. Based upon regular stuff. Playing around with old people, women, children. No. Your mind is messed up. That's why it's a cycle war. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly why it's a cycle war. But here's the thing. If the jail system was more predicated in that scenario and laws was more conducive to being beneficial, not in the area of forcing people in situations to play these things out, society would be better. You know what I'm saying? And the way we look at mental illness would be different, or psychology itself. Because all the psychologists would truly be individuals in the jails, the COs and stuff like that. That's where it actually would count. Because there's a psychological problem. Now, here's the thing. The reason why it can't be substantiated like that, because it ain't the starting point. So there's a larger percentage of people in jail and prison that got good common sense. They went against a law that even the system knows is faulty and was extremely exercised on their end before they made it a way that no one else could do it. So you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times that be the problem sometimes when it's like we gotta recorrect everything in its root, but the root had been so much other stuff built on top of it. Ain't no telling how many decades that'll take to be cleared and stuff. Y'all know about stuff y'all read, people walking on water and stuff y'all voted for, that your grandmother voted for, it ain't never come to be. And you hear an excuse that it take about 10, 15 years for it to start to move. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get in that detail. Y'all already know what I be talking about. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it'd be a lot of stuff that got to trickle down before, like the stuff that's really simple can be plucked up. You know what I'm saying? If the root got this on top of it, this gravel on top of it, this big Corinthian pillar on top of it, this brick on top of it. Think about how much stuff got to be, you know what I'm saying? Might not ever find that root again. But the root there for everything to be on top of it, it's just ain't nobody, people too tired and fatigued to try to get down and try to move it and get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that right now. So it's like, man, whatever's going on, whatever happened. If nature deteriorated, let nature deteriorate it. But I'm going to milk this motherfucker for everything it's worth. Wise up. And that's kind of where we at right now in every situation, our relationships, our businesses, our circumstance, corporations, and definitely corporations, but a lot of stuff. And that's how you're supposed to look at the world, though. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to look at the world and shit and stuff like that. But for the most part, we all there and we in it together. Because these is areas of life we all participated in, whether you know it or not. All the way down to the bum at the bus station. For a person to come up with a circumstance to get them out of the bus station, that's a communion. Had to be aware of the person at the bus station up under the bridge and a person that's in a situation that can take it out of it. And all the people and the spectators and their voices that may want to do something about it and say something, may not want to do something about it. Others may want to shame it. All of that is a communion. All of that is needed. All of that is necessary, right? Because even from all ends, all the way down to the person up under the bus station and stuff like that, they getting their spiritual ass kicked in one way. You shouldn't be up under the bus station. They having ideas in another way. Maybe it was set up institutionally for them to be up under the bus station. All the way down to they start to realize, bitch, once you just pick up your motherfucking cross and whatever goddamn game that's being thrown at you at the moment, do a cartwheel through that fire hula hoop, and you'll make it out. You'll be a diamond. You know what I'm saying? You'll be a motherfucking diamond. You know what I'm saying? And if you ain't trying to do that, you're going to be complacent in a situation where complacency don't even work. Because it's really you making an excuse not to take a move on or not to even be in that spiritual space to develop that substance so you can be inspired or motivated and it condense. And now you got something to move towards. And we always got to be in that space, no matter where we at. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to all the young OGs online, getting shadow banned and all this type of stuff, right? Take that as motivation and substantiate that with, the things that build you up for you to be you and motivate you. You know what I'm saying? Make it art. You know what I'm saying? If somebody hate, make him hate harder. You know what I'm saying? But if you got some creativity, that's the only way that works. Other than that, you're crying. Why you hate me? No, make them hate this. And what is that? Your creativity. What is that? Your productivity. What is that? The way you think. What is that? That's gold. That's gold. That's what the gold is. You supposed to make that up. You make up that working. You shape and form that. You put that together. You engineer that. However you do it. You know what I'm saying? That's for all individuals, though. You know what I'm saying? All individuals substantiate themselves in that manner. Therefore, even when there may be times that it's justified that you could play victim because you ain't taking it like that, though, because this has to be blocked. It's creativity. It ain't, oh, I'm just not nothing. The universe ain't happening to you, for you. It's just happening through you. So when you think that everything is happening to you, you're a victim. When you think everything happening for you, you end up thinking you spiritually spoiled and things supposed to go your way all the time. Imagine when it don't. But when you know it's just happening through you, you good to go. It's just an experience to update your creativity and make more emphasis. Don't get lost into the physical version of it. Like money, just emphasize who you already are. Let your spirit do that in the spiritual world with esoteric currency and be spiritually rich. Let your thought forms emphasize who you already are. Don't let your thought form be beautiful and let some external thought forms degenerate that, degrade it. You know what I'm saying? Now you don't know how to add on to someone, some free energy somebody just gave you. That's free energy. You're supposed to be the one like, oh, this free energy. I know how to transmute it to look like this. Well, that's how you're supposed to do that. Now you witty, you quick on your toes in the spiritual world. No matter what thrown at you as an esoteric rock to even bend down as a 1, 2, and 3rd dimensional joke. You know what I'm saying? You're able to catch it. Stop the bullet. You know what I'm saying? Whatever's being thrown. So you ain't David or Goliath in this diggity thing. You know what I'm saying? You just working with the elements. The rock had to go through the air. So any stone that was formulated to make you feel impacted had to be said, had to be thought about. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Now, the bigger the thought, the bigger the rock. The smaller the thought, and goddammit, the smaller the rock. Y'all just sometimes scared like y'all wasn't in high school playing dodgeball. Now let's go into the spiritual lens of it. No, you're supposed to know how to dodge or not even care. A small rock don't even hurt. It's like somebody's weak opinion. It's like somebody's little 2 cents. A little rock. You know what I'm saying? That's a little rock. You know what I'm saying? Then it got a big old rock. Somebody make that. They took a whole long time to put all those collection of gravels together. Had to lift it up. They had help. If it's a big old rock being thrown at you and stuff like that, that's help. You should laugh at that. Like, damn, what you doing in your personal life that you invested that much time to pluck all those gravel and stuff? And we be mostly in the grassy lanes and around water. Where you get all these rocks from? Did you get help? Did somebody take you to Esoteric Home Depot and y'all bought for it? Y'all bought it? Then you start thinking like, damn, they buying synthetic bricks and stuff like that to put together and play fake David and Goliath. You know what I'm saying? Off the bat, free energy. Because once they throw them all at you, you got enough for a few villages. You can build a few long houses, a few houses with that. You know what I'm saying? You can build a few houses with that. You be like, damn, I got this, I got that, I got this, and stuff like that. Then therefore, can nobody stop you? You know what I'm saying? Then a hater have to stop hating, pretty much. Because a hater, especially if you're a man, a hater just gonna start realizing I'm getting him more bitches than me. You know what I'm saying? If you're a woman, a hater that bitch, she gonna realize, damn, I'm getting her business popping more than mine. That's all they gonna realize. That's all a hater can sit down and do after a while. You can't be taking a long time, get a whole lot of, you know what I'm saying? Go to Home Depot and stuff like that, get a whole team. You know what I'm saying? You gotta really look at it like that. You gotta really look at it like that, because if you don't, for the most part, you would get overthrown. And now little rocks affect you. Then when a person get a big old rock and stuff like that, that'll always be used against you. Now, someone that's built around your space, and even when these people ain't even physically around you, whether family, friends, or associates, right? They affect your life. They dictate your actions. They dictate how you think, how you interact with others. Oh, let me not say this to this other family member or this, that, and third, because I know they might say this to this. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you fucked up. You all fucked in the game. You fucked in the game at that point, from a spiritual perspective. You fucked in the game at that point. You know what I'm saying? Now you living for others and stuff. Due to the fact that you could be doing things upright for an individual who don't even give a fuck about you like that. And then your upright for them actually works not in your favor, and it actually benefit them. Now you got somebody, you like acting a certain way, making them look good. In the meantime, it make you look bad and shit like that. And a lot of times y'all be in situations like that. They call them dogers and stuff like that, where a lot of times your leader or something like that, or your fellow family member that's, I guess, the breadwinner or whatever the case may be, you want to act a certain way because their attributes or however the case. But you know what I'm saying? You make them look good, but in the mean of you making them look good, you look bad. You know what I'm saying? You look like they stepping on you or whatever. Then they start developing qualities around that and stuff. And then they always need you around to look like that and feel like that. Eventually, you're going to get wore out. Eventually, you're going to start trying to tell them off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't going to know how to do it if you're allowed to go too far and shit like that. You ain't going to know how to do it, because then they're going to get into that ego game. Whatever they think that you was connected with them about, you start seeing them playing with it, start separating from you, but still being around you more than ever, just separating those other things to see how much you're going to mention it or not mention it. They start playing mind games and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Ego ass down family friend or associate or coworker. Then you got to really consider, man, is this even the right kind of connection you should have? It's draining. You know what I'm saying? It's draining. And anything you say shall be used against you. They're going to play victim. Anything you do is your fault. They waiting to see it. They waiting for you to do anything different, so they can be like, this is the reason, this, that, and the third. They're going to ask stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you in their life and say it's your fault. Man, they can't wait. They just waiting for you so they can try to really secretly pull out of why you ain't boosting their ego no more. That's really what it's all about. That's what it's all gonna boil down to. You just don't see it that way. You ain't gonna see it that way. But that's what they really secretly try to figure out. Wait a minute, this person ain't. You know what I'm saying? They start dealing with their ego a little bit. They start, wait a minute, let me purposely take this person around these other people that we know, and I'm gonna talk like this or whatever like that. And if they don't talk like, I'm gonna think. So then the next day, I'm gonna make sure they late for work or whatever. If they got me, then I'm telling you, they go deep. A lot of y'all probably got the type of people in y'all life. I'm telling y'all don't know how deep they think for you to wake up and feel like something ain't right. And it's always an uppity down roller coaster when it comes to connecting with them throughout the year. That's what they be thinking about. That's the intent. It don't be no other intent. It is what it is. Always have that in your mind. Of course, a person to say anything. You know what I'm saying? A person to be like, oh, I woke up late. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, think about the times you do stuff and what you thought about. You just might got a better moral system. You try your best not to put yourself in situations that you have to do that, because you think about that. When you think about something, you know better, you do better. That's what make teachers. So a lot of times lines get blurry a lot of times when it comes to what self-projection mean. And a person that is getting taught can say that the teacher is self-projecting. But if the teacher already understands this experience, that's why they can teach it based upon if they previously went through it or they just seen it from a distance by close proximities. You know what I'm saying? And people that they know or whatever the case. But If it's in a comfort zone to be able to express it, it's not being used behind closed doors to manipulate their current situations anyway. So it's out freely for anyone to listen to, take it or leave it, who may be doing it, or someone who's it getting done on. So that's how you can separate from it ain't what we doing, it's how we doing. And if we're doing the same thing like teaching, separate from who may be self-projecting their own qualities and giving you a diet, but telling you specifically need celery. And one person saying, this is the mind frame I'm in, and maybe the timing I do it, maybe 12 p.m. or whatever the case may be. But you got make sure you fulfill that with your own. You make your own cup at the ocean or whatever the case may be. You might be allergic to celery. You know what I'm saying? And develop your own mind there. So I was just away or somewhere I went before you in the distance, but I have none of that pressure on being responsible for any walk and path that you're on and stumble that you may make, trial and tribulation or error you may have, or mistake. Because even if you didn't know you was allergic to celery, I told you that was mine and you fulfilled that with yours. So even in those testing stages, you can't say your recipe didn't work. And you could take your self-accountability and be like, I needed to test this because this person is on the same path I'm on. They just not the same person as me. So I don't necessarily need to put everything on the shoulder of the specifics that they did. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, all of us could be on our own journey, but still have that communion that we all could see the same type of path. Therefore, now you know that there is a path. There is a such thing as a path, even if you're not physically walking. Even if you're not, you know what I'm saying, being told this is the direction to go. You know what I'm saying? It's not a vision, it's not a word. But when you spiritually inclined, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I get ready for the class later on tonight and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we switch the vibe up. I got to lead by a spiritual adult. Or whatever the case may be. And that's what we all supposed to do. You know, YouTube is more opinion based, whatever the case may be. You know, we should calm down our energies a little bit on a forcing you should thing like that, whatever like that. Guess what? It ain't what we doing, it's how we doing. If the what is converting, that plays out better too. Because if you say some shit that's cold, I'm converted. Now, here's the thing. You could be saying some shit that's cold, but then in the middle of it, I'm supposed to think that way. Before I can even get to that's a cold idea, I'm in spiritual resistance. Hey, is it something I was supposed to see first, even if it's right? That why I couldn't see it. And we all say that without it being English. Everybody do that. This is how we even have that existence in this world where you could be giving somebody some good advice, but they still have to put their hand on the stove, or they have to experience something first, or they know it's good advice, but just because it came from you. Now, here's the thing. Don't get too far into your ego. That's an energy in the holy, holy, and the holy, holy. You're just a representation there. Whatever that person doing, they doing that in other pockets of their life. So don't be too hard on yourself and be like, oh, this person just hating on me. And that could be part of it too. But the largest portion on a percentage scale of it is this. Yeah, it came from you. So you could be thinking like, yeah, this person, they know I got good advice, but it's just because of me. But deep down, the spirit start feeling like I was supposed to get in that North Node energy for myself because you got there. I can get there too. So I'm going to show you that whatever I thought about that you seen is still right too. Because I can be in that space too. And here's where a person will start to still make mistakes even when you told them something right. And even when they still making mistakes, they start to separate from you because you got that I told you so energy. And it really ain't had nothing to do with you. So don't get too much of your ego. But it came through you. And you might be like, oh, this person is doing that because it's me. But really deep down, you took that spirit away from getting to a goal that all of us spirits supposed to take responsibility for, aka knowing that path and knowing how to develop our fruit. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight box, bitch, you know. But y'all, you're not listening to the Mind of Terry's Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm going to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. Or rap the sword, he'll hold that yellow hoop. That's not so it. I'm going to talk.